My first week as an electronic repairsman has not quite gone the way that I want it to. In fact, it's pretty much gone the opposite. To this day, I have not been able to take apart anything and put it back together and have it working better than when I first took it apart. And this has been the case with 3 devices. The PS Vita, I bought it. It was dirty. It was very dirty, actually. And, I took it apart to clean it. And when I put it back together, I got stick drift from it. And when I tried to fix that and put it back together again, the display stopped working. And so I had to shelf that PS Vita until I can get some replacement parts online. And then I picked up a Nintendo Switch, which apparently was working as well. Turns out it wasn't quite working the way I wanted it to. Anyway, I took it apart to clean it. I broke the left Joy-Con rail, and I had to replace that. And so I replaced that. I cleaned it up, put it back together, and the touchscreen wasn't working. It turns out the touchscreen was probably never working because there was some corrosion where the touchscreen port was supposed to be plugged in via ribbon cable. There was a lot of blue corrosion that I was cleaning off the first time when I opened up the device. And, I didn't know anything about the corrosion. I'm thinking maybe it's just innocent corrosion. Don't know where it's connected to yet. This is my first time opening this device. And it turns out the corrosion was affecting the touchscreen capabilities. And so I went on OfferUp and I purchased another Nintendo Switch, tablet only, that was not working. And it turns out that model was a different model than the one that I had originally bought. So I was unable to fix the original Nintendo Switch with the new one that I bought. It was incompatible. And now I have 2 broken Nintendo Switches that I'm waiting on ordering parts for. To be honest, I might just scrap both of the motherboards and, scrap what other parts I can. And by scrap the motherboards, I pretty much mean throw them out, because I think at this point it would just take too much testing in order to find out which resistor or which capacitor is broken. And I could just buy a working one online for $20. And doing that is pretty much the essence of what a repairman is. And so I bought a PS Vita on OfferUp. Came with a game, about $65. The PS Vita worked okay, but it was super dirty. And so I took it apart to clean it up. And when I put it back together, it turns out I caused a joystick drift. And so I tried to take it apart again, fix the joystick drift. And when I put it back together again, the screen wouldn't turn on. And so now I have 2 problems with that PS Vita, and I had to shelf it until I can get some replacement parts. And then I picked up a Nintendo Switch original, and it looked like that Switch was performing okay when I tested it. I didn't do an extensive test on OfferUp, which I should have, but I took it apart to clean it. I ended up breaking the left Joy-Con rail, and nonetheless, I replaced that, and I put it back together, cleaned it up, and it was working okay, but the touchscreen wasn't working. And it turns out when I first got the device, when I was cleaning out the motherboard, there was a lot of corrosion on a specific port, a lot of blue corrosive stuff. And it turns out that corrosive stuff was most likely affecting the display touchscreen capabilities. And so now I had a Switch that didn't have touchscreen. And so what I did was I bought another Switch on OfferUp, thinking I'll just swap out the motherboard for that and be good to go. Well, it turns out there's 2 different models of the original Switch. They got the Hack 01 and then the Hack 02. And so neither one is compatible with the other, really, when it comes to swapping out motherboards and specific ports like that. So now I have 2 Nintendo Switches that don't work. I have a PS Vita that doesn't work, and I'm waiting for parts. This idea that I'm waiting for parts, and it's not necessarily that I'm even waiting for parts. I'm waiting to have the excess funds in order to purchase the parts, because this is not what I do full time. In the future, this is something that I want to do full time, but right now it's I'm a hobbyist. I'm a part timer. I work full time. I do Uber Eats, and it's the middle of the month, and I may have over leveraged myself a bit when it comes to what I should have spent. And so I don't really have any money for the rest of the month to buy any inventory. And that brings me to the 8 PlayStation Portables that I purchased on OfferUp, and the one that you see me disassembling here. Well, I got really lucky when I bought these 8 PSPs because 6 of 8 of them worked immediately. And I'm gonna be honest. The hustler in me, um, the competitive mindset that I'm trying to weed out of my system and replace it with creativity. That voice in my head was thinking, "Well, Anthony, 6 of 8 of these PlayStation Portables work. Why don't you just go ahead and sell 6 of them for $40, and you can make pretty much double your money?" And then I thought about it. That is really, that way of thinking is really the main reason why they have very low trust with the people. Is because one thing you realize as a repairsman is that you know more than the person whose device you're fixing. And if you know more than somebody on a certain thing, then it's very easy to manipulate them for your benefit. It's very easy to manipulate ignorance. And that's why right to repair is so important. I don't want to be a repairsman just to make money. I want to be a repairsman to extend the longevity and of devices and to fight off planned obsolescence and to overall just breathe life into old devices. And so many people, they'll just throw something away if it has the smallest problem with it. They won't even bother fixing it, or they'll just sell it and buy a new one. But if I want to be a true repairsman, I can't be a flipper. Because on the scale of, we're all salesmen. I mean, a repairman is a salesman, a flipper is a salesman, but they're on two opposite sides of the spectrum. On the left side of the spectrum, you have the flipper, the person who looks to buy something for very cheap and then, sell it for a profit. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, you have the repairsman, the person who looks to refurbish an item and bring it back to as close as possible to its original condition. And obviously, there's a huge work discrepancy in the middle there as far as it pertains to how much effort it takes to do either. I could have easily flipped these PSPs and made double my money, or I can disassemble these PSPs to their lowest common denominators, clean every individual part, inspect every individual part, put the PSP back together from the ground up, test it, and then sell it for maybe a little bit more, maybe $20 more. Now, is the work that I'm putting into worth $20? It might be worth a little bit more than $20. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to disassemble one of these PSPs if you don't know how. I mean, once you get it down, you see. I mean, I'm being able to pry out the screen of this very easily, but there's actually it takes a little bit of skill. It takes a little bit of research. And then you have to, be able to put it back together, test it. It takes time. It takes a process. I got down to about 20 minutes when it comes to disassembling these PlayStation Portables. I haven't put anything back together yet. But what I wanted to say was I want to do these repairs from a more holistic standpoint. I wanted to create a repository of each PlayStation Portable part. So by disassembling these PSPs to the lowest common denominator, I'm able to basically have 8 faceplates, 8 motherboards, 8 fans, or 8 UMD drives. I don't think it has a fan. But, I have 8 of everything. So basically, if I want to bring one of these PSPs back to life, I think I have a pretty good chance of doing so. And although my margins are going to be a bit smaller than had I just bought or wiped down the PSPs with a microfiber cloth and just flipped them for a easy, 150, 200% profit. This is going to be much more rewarding in my opinion, because I'll be able to sell one of these PSPs and I'll have so much confidence when I sell it. I'll be able to tell the buyer that these PSPs have been personally refurbished and tested by me. They don't have a speck of dirt anywhere. They play every game perfectly. Every button works. And, it's the closest thing that you can get to a brand new PlayStation Portable. That type of repairsman is missing in today's age. The type of repairsman that takes effort and pride in what he does and believes in right to repair and understands that, and this is what Louis Rossmann said in his most recent keynote speech. If you guys don't know who Louis Rossmann is, you're doing yourself a disservice. That is, if you care about right to repair. Louis Rossmann said that if you can't fix it, you don't own it. Now, how many items of our daily lives does that apply to? I recently bought some Bluetooth speakers, and I'm like, man, these Bluetooth speakers are great. I can take them anywhere. But I thought, once the battery starts going starts to begin to lose its inability to hold a charge, how can I replace the battery to a newer one so I can basically have a brand new speaker again? And I'm just looking at these little Bluetooth oval egg-shaped speakers, and there's not one screw anywhere on this device. There's not one screw. And that's the future that we're heading to if we don't start caring about the things that we buy and ownership in general. I mean, it's bad when companies start calling us consumers. Like, I forgot who it was. I don't want to say the company's name because I might be wrong. But the CEO of the company, in an interview, he actually referred to us as, he said, our consumers. And I almost thought it was like a Freudian slip. Like, you mean your customers, right? Not your consumers. You didn't mean to call us consumers, did you? So, things are getting, it looks like the writing's on the wall. And if we don't do something soon, these type of predatory practices will continue. But that's one of the reasons why I do like older devices, is because they're very, it seems like they were just made in a way that was meant to repair. Some people say that the PlayStation Portable 1000 was made in an anti-consumer way because it's kind of, difficult to disassemble, put it back together or whatever. And I disagree with that. I think it was made with complete modularity. And I think for its time, if you wanted to put that amount of technology, I mean, it's got a disk drive and you can fit it in the palm of your hands. If you wanted to cram that much technology into something this small of a form factor, it would have definitely taken as much complexity as it took. I mean, you got to give them credit for it. You can't say, Sony's being anti-consumer because the PlayStation Portable was too difficult to repair or, to disassemble, reconstruct. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. I didn't want to just take my loss and then just not show up with a video and no explanation of why I was gone, but to let you guys know what's going on. I'm going to let you guys know I'm in it for the long run. I don't care how many followers I have, how many subscribers I got. I'm in it the real reason I'm in it is to help change the stereotype of what it means to be a repairsman. Why are we so disliked? Why do we have such a negative stereotype around us? I want being a repairsman to be something that the average person can strive to become. You don't need me to fix your devices. It probably wouldn't be a good idea right now anyway. I'm kind of shoddy, but I'm gonna get there. But yeah, you don't need me to fix your devices. You can fix them yourself. And I think once you fix something yourself, you're gonna have a whole different appreciation for it, and you're really gonna see it as your own. You're really gonna take ownership of the things that you have instead of just trying to perpetually replace them every few years, as is the current meta. But thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Next week, you guys are going to find out whether or not I was able to successfully put this PSP back together and have it working. I'm sure I'll at least be able to clean the parts. But yeah, will I be able to put it back together? I don't know. Hopefully. I think I will be able to. I got enough tries. Haven't been able to so far, but that doesn't mean I won't be able to in the future. And as the great Roger Martin once said, strategy does have angst to it, and you cannot guarantee the success of your strategy beforehand. However, planning is surely one way to guarantee failure. Thank you all for tuning in once again. This is World Class Tony signing out.